Hi there, freshwater friends. This is Skip from the After School program. I'm doing a little video for you all on what exactly are plants and animals. I know that might seem like a pretty simple question, but it's not quite as simple as everyone might think, and there are a lot of interesting and unique examples that a lot of people might not know about, and I didn't learn about until I was much later in life. Let's start off by talking about plants. Plants are made of many cells, and they produce their own food. They are called autotrophic, which means they produce their own food. Troph is typically means eat, and auto means self, so it eats itself, kind of. They make their own energy from the sun. They have little green pigments inside of them that absorb light, and they're able to turn or use that light energy to make food. It's pretty cool, and it allows plants to be able to grow without really harming or hurting anything else around them. Plants come in all types of different shapes and sizes. Some of them are really, really small. You might not be able to see them at all. And some are some of the biggest organisms in the world, like the sequoias and redwoods that you're also familiar with. There are a lot of weird types of plants out there. Some of them are carnivorous. Most plants will get their nutrients from the soil around them, but carnivorous plants typically live in areas that don't have a whole lot of natural resources, so they will consume other animals around them to gain the nutrients that they can't get from the soil. But they typically still will produce their own food from the sun. They just need animals for other nutrients that they normally would get from the ground. Some plants are parasitic, and they do not produce any energy of their own, and they have to steal their energy from other plants. This can cause them to not have to be green, which is pretty interesting and unique. Mistletoe is one that you all might be a bit familiar with. On the right, you can see it. It grows on oak trees, and it parasitizes their energy. Why should we care about plants? Part of the photosynthetic process is that plants will create clean, fresh oxygen as a byproduct from making their own food. So plants just existing provides us with clean air. We can use plants for food. Many plants will grow fruits that we can eat, like corn and tomatoes and watermelons. But a lot of foods also produce seeds and nuts that we can eat as well, that I'm sure many of you like. Plants are also beautiful to look at. For some reason, it makes us feel good to look at pretty things, and a lot of plants have evolved to be beautiful to attract animals to help pollinate them and spread them around. We should also care about plants because they're alive just like us. Plants, though they do not move around as often and quickly as we do, they still are living organisms, and all life deserves a chance to live. So, what about animals? What are they? Animals, like plants, are made of multiple cells. But unlike plants, animals have to get energy from other sources. They are heterotrophs, which means they eat other. Hetero means other, typically. So they eat other things for food, and they typically will move in at least one stage in their life. There are a lot of weird animals out there. On the left, you see a sea walnut, which is a weird jellyfish-like animal. On the right, up above, you can see a tardigrade, which is a microscopic little organism that are actually pretty cute. And on the bottom, you have a hammerhead flatworm, which is a really weird creature, but it can grow in a lot of different weird shapes and sizes. So animals are separated into over 30 different groups, and these groups are called phyla or phylums. Most of the animals you have experienced are within 9 major groups, and when you think of most animals, you will typically think of chordates, which we are. We are related to fish, amphibians, reptiles, birds, which are also kind of reptiles, and mammals. Chordates can be pretty varied, but we only make up a small percentage of all the animals in the world. There are a lot of other groups of animals out there. Chordates only make up about 10% of all the animals in the world. So, what other types of animals are there? Well, you know of bugs. You probably know of snails, octopi, and squids. You might know about sponges, corals, and jellyfish, but those are ones that I was surprised to learn are actually still animals. Starfish, sand dollars, and worms, of course, are all animals too. And there are many, many more types of animals out there, but too many to cover in this video. So, sponges, corals, and jellyfish are animals? Sponges are the most primitive and earliest form of animals that we have discovered. They filter feed and typically will stay in one place throughout their whole life, but when they are first born, they actually can swim around a little bit. Corals are called anthozoans, which literally means flower animal. Antho typically means flower, and zoans typically means animals. Corals produce calcium as a part of their digestive process, producing the rocky shapes that you probably are a bit familiar with. Jellyfish are related to corals and actually can sometimes look a little bit like corals at one stage in their life or another, but they typically prefer to float around aimlessly in the way that you're familiar with. So why should we care about animals? Many animals actually have feelings like us. They can love, they can feel pain, they can feel pleasure, they can feel discomfort, and they deserve to feel good in the same way that we deserve to feel good. Animals can also provide us with company and entertainment. I know a lot of you probably have dogs, cats, or goats at home that you like to cuddle and play with. Animals in the wild also spread around seeds very well, which causes more plants to grow, which causes our world to be a more beautiful natural place. And without animals, the world would be a lot more plain and boring. I want to thank you all for coming and watching my brief introduction to plants and animals. I would be very happy to talk in more detail about any of the topics that I had discussed today. And if there are any other topics you'd like me to discuss in future videos, I would love to hear it if you want to leave it in the comments or talk to me about it today in my live session. I hope you are all doing well in this quarantine, and I hope to see you soon. Hi there, freshwater